Hey, welcome to Three Count Commentaries. This is your host, Mongo Slade, and today we're going to talk about Braun Strowman, Shane McMahon. These seem to be they seem to be at each other's throats for some reason, even though that reason seems to be Raw Underground. And I guess Braun Strowman forgot. So Braun Strowman was thrown in a tag team match, had no idea who his partner was going to be, and was complaining about it. At this point, I wasn't sure whether Braun Strowman was supposed to be a heel or a babyface. I think that idea sucks. And I was like, okay. So he was mad that he wasn't in the Elimination Chamber. He was also mad that he didn't know who his partner was. He thought that Adam Pearce and Shane McMahon was conspiring against him, which is really weird because we already doing a conspiracy storyline with Sami Zayn. So anyway, Shane McMahon comes out there and basically starts kind of cutting this promo on Strowman. He kind of said he wasn't smart, and so he's talking about, Shane talking about I'm taking MBA classes, and and this is above, your reading level. And I'm like, oh, so I guess Shane is the heel. I'm guessing Shane is a heel, because he was. Look, I lost track with Braun Strowman. He was gone for so long, and then when he came back, he was, yelling at Adam Pearce and yelling at Shane McMahon for reasons I didn't know. So now I guess he's a okay. Which one of these guys is the babyface? Right? Now, before he left, Braun Strowman spazzed out and headbutted and beat up Adam Pearce. There was no real reason for it. He was tap dancing on the heel babyface line back then too, because that's when they were doing the stupid Survivor Series match, and all those guys were arguing all the time. So now he comes back, and I guess he was supposed to be a babyface because he came back to fight Lashley, but Lashley was kind of on the fence too. So now in this segment, I'm outside of Shane openly bullying him, talking about how stupid he is and stuff like that. I'm not sure whether he's supposed to be a babyface or a heel, and it's hard to explain the characters and what's going on when you don't know who the babyfaces and who the heels are. Anyway, Shane McMahon decides that Adam Pearce is going to be Braun Strowman's partner, and he says because Braun doesn't know how to be don't know how to communicate with WWE management. He doesn't know how to be cooperative, so he needs to be taught how to be cooperative. He needs to be taught conflict resolution. So he says that the best way for him to learn conflict resolution is to team up with a WWE official. So he told him Adam Pearce, the guy who he's had the most problems with. And then to spice it up, he made it for the tag team championships. Okay. So the Hurt Business come out there, and the Shane is at ringside, and Braun Strowman and Adam Pearce versus the Hurt Business for the tag team championships. And Braun is, knocking around Cedric and Shelton Benjamin like bowling pins. I'm never a fan of the tag team champions being beaten up like this, but at least it makes sense that Braun Strowman is typical a guy who can beat 2 or 3 men pretty easily. He won the tag team titles from Cesaro and Sheamus pretty much by himself before, so I thought that's what was going to happen again. I was about to get really, really mad. Really mad. But that didn't happen. He power slammed Shelton Benjamin, and then listened to Shane McMahon. Shane McMahon told him to tag in Adam Pearce. Tag out. So he tags out like an idiot. And Adam Pearce gets small packaged. He doesn't have to take a bump. And he gets pinned. So Braun, who promised that something bad was going to happen to Adam Pearce if he lost him the match. And then Strowman didn't do anything. He was just kind of frustrated. And Adam Pearce is a little frustrated too, a little embarrassed, because the whole thing was Adam Pearce is a wrestler. He is he has a reputation. So this doesn't fit the reputation he's been. He's a former world champion. Former NWA world champion. He's not this guy. To just get beat that fast. But he did. It was pretty smooth. Okay, it's a pretty smooth small package. Not bad. Got Shelton and Cedric out of there. So apparently this storyline is going to be about the Raw Underground thing, but they haven't mentioned it yet. So upon hearing Shane McMahon's problems with Braun Strowman is that Braun Strowman doesn't know how to act. You know, he doesn't know how to communicate. It takes me back to the Raw Underground thing, where Braun Strowman basically was just demanding people to fight, and he was bullying Shane McMahon around, and he was saying, "I'm going to fight somebody," and that's when he ended up, beating Dabba-Kato and really kind of beating him down and hurting him and killing off the Raw Underground concept. And it was because, Strowman decides to just mow people over in the place. I think he beat up like 5 or 6 people in that place. Like he was mauling guys. So I think that's really what we're going at here. Okay, but so here's the thing: do we get Dabba-Kato versus versus Braun Strowman at WrestleMania, or do we get Shane McMahon versus Braun Strowman? And I think that's what we get. I think that Dabba-Kato losing at Raw Underground kind of hurt him. So what I think they're going to do now is introduce him at WrestleMania. Reintroduce him at WrestleMania. I think Shane McMahon probably challenges Braun Strowman to a fight, or they find some way of getting into a fight. No disqualifications, no countouts, a street fight. And you think Shane McMahon's going to die, but then he shows up with Dabba-Kato. And Dabba-Kato is going to get his revenge on Braun Strowman. And that's what we're going to go with for WrestleMania. And I'm fine with that. See, Braun is a guy who, he's a conundrum. I don't hate Braun Strowman. A lot of people seem to hate Braun Strowman. I don't. I like giants. And Strowman is a very effective guy when he's not around as much as, when he was the Universal Champion, he was a little too strong. He was also a little too goofy. And then also he was fucking around with The Miz and Morrison, and it wasn't fun. It wasn't interesting. He wasn't doing dynamic things. And then he got wrapped up in the feud with the Fiend, which I liked. And then another bunch, I found out it's the worst feud of the year, according to the Wrestling Observer newsletter. It's the worst feud of the year, even though it told a fantastic fucking story. I can agree that the Swamp Fight wasn't that good. I can agree with that. I can also agree that probably some of their wrestling matches definitely weren't good. I mean, you had a situation where you had, who was going to be the ring general? Like, who's going to lead the match? That's the question. That's a booking decision. You book 2 guys who are, who play the same role. Somebody's got to lead, and that just became theatrics. So I can agree that the matches weren't all that good. But then again, the matches weren't going to be good anyway, because look who's in them. Bray Wyatt is not known for having classic wrestling matches. And neither is Braun Strowman. These guys are monster trucks, right? Sometimes you just want to see monster trucks bang into each other. And they did that pretty good too, but they also did a lot of theatrics, which I didn't care for. Like the whole mask thing, with Braun Strowman with the mask and all that shit. I didn't really care for that. And I didn't like the Swamp Fight. So I can agree with the Wrestling Observer newsletter readers that the matches were not that great. But the feud itself was fucking fantastic. The storytelling, excellent. It was excellent shit. You had Braun Strowman turn on Alexa Bliss, one of his only friends, because he thought that she was on the Fiend's side, but she wasn't yet. So what ended up happening is he ended up getting corrupted and turned heel. He stopped caring about her, and then that's why she ended up falling under the sway of the Fiend. She fell into the sway of the Fiend because Braun Strowman didn't protect her. And he didn't protect her because he already thought she was with the Fiend. He was paranoid. He got driven kind of crazy. So I thought that was pretty sweet, and it played off of their history together. I thought it was great. You talk about long-form storytelling. You talk about, utilizing the lore of the characters that you've built. I like those. I like when they do that. They need to do it more, if we're being honest. So I thought that the Strowman and Wyatt feud was pretty cool. But Strowman needs to be led. He is like, I don't want to say Lex Luger. I don't want to say that. Pick your guy, Sid. Okay, like somebody like Sid, right? Sid is capable of having good matches. But Sid's capable of having good matches with people who know how to work with him. Like, Strowman can have good matches, sure. He's had good matches before. Had decent matches with the Big Show. He had decent matches with Strowman. I mean, not Strowman, but Roman. He can have good matches. He just needs to be led, you know. And Wyatt wasn't the guy to lead him. Wyatt's an artist. He's not a technician. So we're in this position now where, you know, a lot of people hate Braun Strowman. I don't particularly hate him. So they're kind of like, why does Shane want to wrestle him? And I say to myself, makes sense for Shane to wrestle him if we're going to go to the Raw Underground thing, which is way back, and I believe in the summer, you know, when he destroyed Raw Underground, or shortly after the summer, right? Probably at the beginning of the fall. So this is going to be pretty sweet, you know. Shane's going to get some help, obviously. That's why I think Dabba-Kato is going to be there. And maybe they'll do something where it's Raw Underground like, where they're going to do like a blood sport thing where they take down the ring, they take down the ropes or something like that, and Shane and Strowman are going to fight in a MMA fight or something like that, and that would be pretty sweet. Like with the not a pre-recorded match though, but like a match that not a pre-recorded cinematic match, but like a match where they just take the ring apart. You know, like they just take the ropes down and they just leave the posts up, like Filthy Island in MLW. And just for this match, though. And they're going to just fight. They're going to fight it out. And then you have Dabba-Kato interfere. And maybe, you know, maybe help Shane win. Maybe, you know, Strowman has to fight him off. In any event, I do believe that's the route we're going. I do believe that's where we're going with this. And that'll also prove that they actually pay attention to what they're doing as far as long form storytelling and planting seeds in the past for things that will be reaped in the future. The question now I'm talking about now is what do you do with Adam Pearce and Braun Strowman? Because you still got 38 days or something like that. You still got a lot of time to feel. And Shane is still being sort of passive aggressive to Strowman, to everyone really. So this ought to be very interesting. You know, if it ends up being the way that I think it will be, it's going to be pretty interesting. It ought to be fun. Because Shane is a capable crash dummy, but he's like 50 now. I think he's like 51 or 52 now. And Strowman is not exactly the most graceful worker in the world. He's probably going to hurt Shane. he's probably going to hurt him. Because he's not the most graceful worker. But Shane could do like crazy jumps and crazy stunts and, you know, be okay. So it ought to be a fun match if they do like a no DQ type of stipulation, and then you get Dabba-Kato in there to do a lot of the heavy lifting. That would be fun. You know, that would be fine. But I see that basically we're going to have Shane embarrass Strowman and embarrass him up to WrestleMania before this fight. So that'd be fun. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Like this video, share this video, subscribe to the channel. Thank you guys for your time, and I'll talk to you guys later, man. Peace. If you
da 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 da